we're saying, you know, it wouldn't be fair or whatever, you know. I would like to see the chance be provided, because if it does work out, then there'll be proof on how it can be done.
Well, we've only been at this point for a week, so I don't want you to think that.
So we're going to try that, though, Debbie. You're saying that you're willing to
and I'm fine with that.
So, Robert, do you see, just before we go, you've got to see that you have done such a good job of advocating for yourself today that one of the key things you wanted, you got.
Right.
Rachel 7 days a week. Due to Rachel's willingness, due to Rachel's extremely unique and excellent commitment and care for other human beings, especially you at this point.
And so
She's
I
willing,
appreciate it.
but the point is, you advocated for that. You got that. That's a change today. You came here, you didn't have that, you leave it here, you got that, okay? That's a difference.
The flip side of that, too, is several nursing agencies have dropped Robert cold for very minor issues that we couldn't resolve or that they didn't even try to resolve.
Yeah.
You have to hand it to Kelly for hanging in there.
Oh, I handed it to Debbie and Kelly.
No, like I
And once
said,
again, it's the person in the job.
It just got to the point where those things...
Both verbal
Well,
and
evidently you called her some names too, and then y'all said
I got her a serenade. She gave me her serenade.
you all said some hateful and mean things to one another, and you
Yeah.
know
We followed up
that does not get,
You vented, right?
you know, and we're not here to talk about her because she's not here. We're here to talk about you. How you can, well, we're talking about how you can do better, and you know, and that obviously you've done very well here today, that isn't going to get you anywhere. That what gets you somewhere is saying what you want, saying it again, saying it again. Why can't I have it? Let's talk about how we can get this done, what does it take to get it done, and continue to stand your ground. And you did that. You got Rachel 7 days a week. So I think you've done well, and I think we ought to conclude on that note, and again, once again, say how impressive it is, your advocacy for yourself, if you do as well, getting everything else you want, which is advocating for a spinal cord injured person, and helping change the Medicaid system. I know that will happen. I know you'll succeed, just like you did here today, but it will be because you stayed with it. You didn't let things grind you down.
Well, within that limit of anger and using it productively.
You might get upset. I'm not saying you won't get angry, but you're going
You haven't heard him on a good roll, let me tell you.
Oh, I imagine. And I always thought today when you drive up here in your own car, I think that'll happen.
Well, meditate, no doubt, right?
Yeah.
Many times we're so wrapped up in our own lives, we don't stop to think about others who are barely getting by because of all the roadblocks in their path. Tonight, I'll introduce you to a young Virginia Beach man who falls into that category. Someone who sees very little light at the end of the tunnel, but is struggling to overcome the odds. Imagine what it's like to require a nurse to get out of bed in the morning, to lose the use of your arms and legs, spending the rest of your life in a wheelchair. Imagine this, and you'll have some idea what life is like for 23-year-old Robert Matusak. He became a quadriplegic 6 years ago following a diving accident.
I had hit my head on the bottom of the lake and instantly became paralyzed.
Robert Matusak lives at this apartment complex in Virginia Beach. Although his unit is described as a handicapped apartment, many of the features just aren't practical for someone with his disabilities. It's impossible for someone in a wheelchair to stand up and get food out of this type of freezer. The dryer stacked on top of the washer is way out of Rob's reach, and the wheelchair ramp outside his front door is so steep he needs a push to get up the ramp. The apartment complex is sympathetic, but says everything here meets city code.
Every time I've approached these walls or barriers, I've had the willpower from my heart and mind that they weren't going to hold me back, that I was going to find a way of going over them.
Right now, Rob's biggest fear is winding up in a nursing home. Up till now, his father has paid his rent, but he's a very sick man, and a few months from now, Rob will be on his own with an inadequate Social Security check.
He gets a Social Security check of $421 a month. His father is paying his rent for him because his rent is $400 a month.
Rob applied years ago to the federal government to subsidize his housing costs, but he's on a very long waiting list.
He's been waiting about 3 years to advance on the list, and it's moving very slowly.
And realistically, how much longer might it take?
I wish I could answer that honestly. I don't know. It depends on federal funding.
Despite the odds, this young man will continue his fight to live independently outside a nursing home. But let's face it, his time is running out. There is some good news for Rob. He's just received a special grant, which will allow him to continue his education in the fall. But where he will live is still up in the air.
Battle for a disabled man against TRT. Melissa Charbonneau has the story in a 10 on Your Side Consumer Report. Cutbacks in handicap services have disabled riders concerned.
Last week, TRT started charging personal assistance of handicapped riders. They used to ride free. Well, tonight, there's more trouble. Here's Melissa Charbonneau with 10 on Your Side report.
Robert Matuzak's planned to graduate this Saturday. But when he called Handy Ride for a lift to the ceremony, he learned TRT had canceled his weekend service.
I'm stuck. The only way that I can go from A to B is to push, and that's without a motor.
TRT says it was pushed to comply with rules of the American Disabilities Act.
The ADA was written to help the disabled, not to hurt them, and I don't see how the transportation is helping us out whenever people like myself are being denied transportation as needed.
Yay. TRT Director Jim Eccles says the new rules actually increase handicapped service.
There's probably maybe a half a dozen individuals who are not getting all the service today that they got before. There's another probably 30 or 40 individuals who are getting more service than they got last time, and you're not going to hear a word from any of them.
In here. Those riders live in priority service areas, shown in dark green on this map. Others, like Robert, who live in the light pink areas, are no longer eligible for service. Eccles says the budget's just not big enough to service all handicapped riders.
If they want more service, they're going to help TRT get funding to operate it.
But without that service, some will be slow to give their blessing.
Their management needs to rethink all the things that they're thinking about and direct their policies to help the disabled that need the transportation and not take it away from us.
Melissa Charbonneau, Wavy News 10.
Now, TRT says 3,000 disabled individuals are eligible to use local paratransit services. An estimated 600 to 800 people ride them each day.
Robert William Matuzak.